Everybody, welcome back to another episode of FSIDFS Fantasy NASCAR Picks. I'm your host, Mega31. Appreciate everybody that's watching so far. And I know some of you are asking for Xfinity. It was just too difficult today with being at my day job and qualifying in the rain and the compressed window, and then they kept on delaying it. So, tell you what, tomorrow when we're supposed to be watching a cup race and it keeps on getting postponed and postponed and postponed, I know most of you probably are having your Xfinity lines in, but I'll probably do a quick video for that just to go over it. And I know I promise I'll try to get DFS 101 out too, especially to explain the differences between like FanDuel and DK and the different types of races and things like that. So I know you're looking at this and you're going sensory overload because there are lots of colors on it. Some colors you've never seen before on the videos. So I'll explain those as we go along. But if you're new to this, and you like want a ticket or something in another sport and you're trying to play the millionaire, then the way that the DK scoring system goes is that you're going to get most of your points in this race from place differential. So if a driver starts 30th and moves up to 10th, they get 20 points for place differential. If they start 10th and end up 30th, they lose 20 points. So you got to be careful with it. And it's NASCAR is a high variant sport, and on these tracks with these super speedways, there tends to be a lot of crashes, and it can be sometimes it turns into a giant parade, and it's boring and nothing happens. But that's probably like 10% of the time, 90% of the time, you do have a crash, especially towards the end. They call it the big one. Sometimes there's multiple ones, and we've seen some in each of the races that we've had so far, especially the ARCA race that look more like a demolition derby. So, um, that being said, you want to play lightly. I know it's the beginning of the season. I know you're excited, and I know there's a millionaire there. Um, but I mean, if you have the bankroll to do it, then go for it. But if you don't, like, don't blow everything. I mean, you got a couple other tracks coming up pretty soon, a couple weeks into this, that will be much easier to predict than this one. But NASCAR's back. We're excited. It'll race eventually. Let's have some fun. So that's the first rule: is don't spend a ton of your bankroll on this race. The second rule is you want to play drivers closer to the back because again, we're looking at place differential. On FanDuel, it's a little bit different. You want to try to nail the winner. Finishing position's a little bit better on that one. There's still some points for place differential. In most of these races, you're looking for people leading laps and fastest laps, but they're spread out through the field. And even if somebody like leads a bunch of laps here, it's a long track, so there's only like 200 laps overall. So it's really not that many points, and it's very rare that somebody's actually go out there and dominate and lead the whole race. Different lines change back and forth, and like with pit stops and things like that. Now, sometimes it can turn into a fuel race. So that's the guys that are in green with white numbers in column D there, they are the ones that are racing for the title. So they'll be looking for like stage points, stuff like that. The guys that are in the tan might have a slight advantage in some of those because they're not. So they might be able to pit at different times when other people wouldn't. And they might be able to get on a pit stop cycle where they're able to grow further with fuel than some of the other ones. And it might make a difference in the race, but I doubt it. I think attritions and avoiding like catastrophes are what you really want to look for. So the final rule is if you like your lineup, this is one sport where you can leave $10,000, $20,000 on the table. Don't feel you have to use your whole budget of money to get better drivers because it might not mean it's going to make a better lineup for you. If you like a bunch of guys and you have like thousands of dollars left over, perfectly fine. If you like your lineup, go with it. So just some ground rules there. Just some commercial stuff is I do have a NASCAR league that's free for fantasy. It's season long. If you're interested in joining, I think I need about 6 more people to lead the run. So if you want to help me out with that, appreciate it. I'll put the link in the bio of the in the in the comments. I'll put the link in the comments. Sorry, long day. Um, so if you join that, it's just Cup. It's each week you start out, you pick 6 drivers. Each week you can change 2. You can look at the scoring system. It's close to DK. There's we tried to make it a little bit more like rewarding, like finishing position and things like that. But also there's some place differential. It's not as steep as DK. There's some points for laps led and things like that, and some bonuses for like most laps led and stuff like that. But anyways, it's just fun fantasy league for this season. And it's not like we're gonna have a draft or anything. You could pick 6 drivers. Everybody could have the same lineup. That is, I understand that, but with the 2 swaps a week, that should start to divide things, and it'll help you do different strategies. So there's different guys who want to road for road races, different guys who are going to want for short tracks throughout the season, stuff like that. So help me out there. The second thing is, if these videos help us back by liking, subscribe to the channel, and sharing with your friends. We would love to get to 5,000 subscribers. We're so happy that we're at 4,600 and growing. And through this and baseball and soccer and other videos that we're doing, we hope to get there by the end of 2024. That'd just be amazing. I thank you for all that have subscribed, but in watching the analytics for these videos, I know that a lot of you watching are not subscribed. So the beauty of that is that when the videos come out. So if sometimes there's a short window for things, I'll try to squeeze things in, and you'll only know that we did a video if you're subscribed, because it will be usually in your feed, or you can set notifications to come out. So that's helpful there. The other thing is, if you want more information on FSIDFS, I am running NASCAR for free for this weekend at least, and I'll see how the response goes and maybe extend it on to Atlanta. Eventually it'll go behind the payroll, but it's very, very inexpensive. I think it's only like 125 for the whole season, and I cover everything. I cover trucks, I cover Xfinity, I cover Cup. You get my sheet, and there'll be times where we won't be able to do videos, so you won't be able to see what the sheet is. So and sometimes there's updates to the sheet, there's other questions, answers. So it's a great group in our Discord. So all you have to do is go to the link in the video or in the description, and you can go to FSIDFS, go to subscriptions, go to NASCAR, sign up for the week 1. The price will be free, and then you can get in there. Now, Discord bot is being a little temperamental, so if it doesn't add you to our Discord for some reason, just go back to the comments of this video and just put a comment in like, hey, I need linked, and I will send to your email a link to the Discord if the bot doesn't do it. So anyways, let's get to the breakdown now. So starting in the poll, we have Joey Logano and Mike McDowell. We have 2 Fords here, which the Fords looked okay out there. They have the new body here. It's the new Dark Horse Thunderbird, which looks really cool. I love the fact that NASCAR is getting back to stock cars, and that was a whole thing where you'd be able to go watch them race on Sunday and then go to the showroom room on Monday and like go and drive the car home. Of course, they don't have the racing engines and next gen stuff in them, but the body was similar. So it's nice to see it getting back, like when they brought out like the car tomorrow and stuff, and like some of these like spoilers and splitters and stuff that you never see on a car, unless somebody modified their personal car. But it's kind of cool to get back to that too. So the Fords look like they worked okay. They had a flat front, and it was hard for them to get into the draft together. And I think Ford made the modification, and they've been much better. Toyota has a different Camry body also, and they put like the air ducts like lower to make them more aerodynamic. Chevy hasn't changed anything. So you got 2 Fords up front, and they're both gonna be fades, because it's very rare that like Joey Logano could go out there and dominate the race, and he finds wrecks. He could win it. It's not going to shock me, but I just don't. I think there's too much downside to him to play him. FanDuel potentially, but not here. Michael McDowell, the same thing. Like, he doesn't usually. He's won Daytona races and super speedways, but has been through attrition, where he started to the back and just ran a clean race. Starting up front, I think he's going to drop back. I don't think he's comfortable up there. He seldom leads these races, so we'll see what happens there. Next, you have two Toyotas, and they looked really good. And it looks like they have got a lot of speed. So I think the reason I color them is because like stacking and towards the end of the video, once I get through the breakdown, we'll go through some some stacks that I like and teams is 23, 11, and Joe Gibbs are pretty much the same thing. You can only have four cup cars in a charter. So 23, 11 is owned by Denny Hamlin and Michael Jordan, and they pretty much are a subsidiary of Joe Gibbs Racing. They all kind of really work together on everything. So Reddick and Bell are not teammates, but they kind of are. So definitely can see them like hooking up early and like hopefully Denny Hamlin getting them and those three Toyotas going out and leading. But I still don't feel that I can play them in DFS because I think there's so much downside for them. Bell starts out races great, and Reddick has done the same thing too. Um, Bell's won a lot of poles, but like fades away towards the end, makes a lot of his pit crew killed him with penalties. Reddick has had some speeding penalties too, so I just can't do them. Chase Elliott has won super speedways. I think it was Atlanta though, like it was his home track, which is a super speedway, but not like Daytona or Talladega as much. But anyways, he's good here. So I'll give him a GPP just because if you want to pick like one GPP play to be the winner and then go down to the bottom and fill in with like cash and safer plays and floor plays, then I think that's a good strategy in some of the smaller contests like the 20 max and stuff where you're not trying to beat and have to have the like thousands of lineups like in the millionaire. Austin Cindric qualified well here through the duels and stuff, but I just feel like he had a really good year his first year. He won his first race, I believe, was the Daytona 500. But last year he took a real step back. I don't think he finished higher than like 20 something in either any of the super speedway races. So he's got a lot to prove for me this year. I think this is going to be the make or break year just to see if he was just like beginner's luck and then the sophomore slump. Like this is going to be the true year to figure out who Austin Cindric is. And, you know, his dad has a high up position in Penske. Is that why he got it? Or does he actually have some talent here and willing to put in the work to be a successful NASCAR Cup driver? So he's a fade for me. Bowman, Mr. Vanilla Ice Cream here. This guy is just goes to races, blue collar, does his job, usually stays out of trouble, and you know, every so often he can backdoor himself a win. Have him as a GPP for that reason. Not super impressed with anything with him. Usually qualified pretty well here. The Hendricks cars usually do. So probably would get together with like Chase Elliott and maybe Hocevar if he can hang with them. And you know, those Chevys will be working, but usually the Ford and Toyotas work together. So I think that if they form a line here, that they're going to need to get some help from the middle for some of these Chevys to make it work early on, but it's a long race. We'll see what happens. Denny Hamlin, I think, is a GPP. He used to be like super dominant at Daytona before they switched the type of car and hasn't been as good recently. GPP still because he could win this. And again, I'd only take like one of these GPPs in the top 10. Carson Hocevar is a fade. Actually, in the top 8, I'd only take one of them. I'll look for the winner. As you look at Nemechek and Jones, I give them GPPs just because I think that these Toyotas are really fast, and I think that I don't know if they're in the optimal lineup, but I'm okay with maybe playing one of these two guys with one of the other ones if you think they're going to win, like especially if it's like Hamlin. Um, but I think you're fine if you just want to pick one of these two guys as not your winner, but somebody that's going to do well with the Toyotas if they hook up and they pretty much dominate the race, and then like with your floor guys below. So Nemechek and Jones, I prefer Jones over Nemechek, just because I think that even when he was in a Chevy, like I thought that he was going to have a breakthrough. Like he's always run really well at these tracks. It was 2 years ago. I thought when TK and I were doing videos, I said each week, like his wins coming, his wins coming, his wins coming. And then like last year, he took a little bit of a step back, but I think this is going to be, he should be solid this year. John Hunter Nemechek, like I liked him in trucks. I liked him in Xfinity, but he always seemed to like let situations get the best of him and end up like getting wrecked or wrecking a lot. He just became too like volatile. He's not as bad as like Drew Dollar or Drogoff Jr. or uh who's my favorite one in probably has a fade right next to him. Harrison Burton. Those are the three that I think are just catastrophes throughout all the series. But I think that Nemechek, he's like Brandon Jones and Xfinity. I've talked about him a lot. Where like there's certain types of races that he's good at, and there's also certain types of racers where there might be a liability. And I think that this might be one of them. He just seems to find trouble. We'll see how it goes. Like he was up here before, he got sent down, and now he's made his way back and I think he did it the right way. I think he got the experience he needed in truck and Xfinity to come back and be successful. He's on a decent team here with this legacy, so I think he's poised to have a decent year. But we'll see how it plays out. But Jones is the favorite between them. Speaking of Harrison Burton, here he is. Did well, better than I expected. He made it through the attrition for uh in that second duel to be able to start up here in 12th. But he's a fade for me. I just think that he's the first one. They said that this new next gen car was almost impossible to flip over. And in the first race in Daytona in this, he's the first one that figured out how to flip it over. So for me, I'm out on him. Daniel Suarez, like he took Trackhouse and Suarez took like a huge, and even Chastain just took a huge step backwards last year. And like Suarez, it just, I don't know. I just don't like him starting 13th here. I want to see how they perform this year before I start playing him in DFS. So I'm out on that. Zane Smith is a rookie. He always ran well in trucks and understands the principle of like drafting and stuff. I know it's completely different than this next gen car, but the Spark car is a team that's like working with Hendricks, and I think that if I wouldn't play him like with Nemechek or Jones, but I think it's a similar situation. If you've got a feeling on the Chevys, I think that he's in play. So now Ty Gibbs. Ty Gibbs, I loved him when he first came out because he was this young kid and he just started winning everything. And then he got as annoying as heck. Um, and it was just like some of his moves on the track and just fights he got into. He's like beating up guys and keeping his helmet on and stuff. But he won the title. I think losing his father kind of humbled him a little bit, but I've just heard the reports that he's actually in the garage. He's working hard. He's trying to figure this out. He doesn't want to live, on his legacy name. He wants to make a name for himself on the track. So I think that this is going to be a breakthrough year for him. I bet him before the 500. I had a 50% multiplier on DK, so I have him winning this race. Didn't look super great in the duels and in practice and qualifying, but again, I have him as the new category, and I'll break this out from time to time, but probably on super speedways as over, which means I'm going to be over the field on him. So I think I'm going to have more ownership on him than everything. I can't see as a cash play, but I like him better than a GPP, but not quite safe floor enough for cash. So I didn't know what to call it, so I'm just going to call it an over the field play. Brad Kozlowski, I think, is a GPP play here. Also, Brad is Brad and Ricky Stenhouse are like almost the same player, although Brad has a much better team and pedigree and everything. I mean, he owns the team. Um, this should be like Roush Fenway Keselowski, but it's just too. It's RFK. It's just too much to put in the block there, so I'll just keep it on Roush Fenway. But anyways, Keselowski finishes really well or wrecks out really early, and it's taken a lot of people out with him over the years. So I have him as a GPP. Love him in like a Roush Fenway like stack and with some other Fords. So probably finding 6 Fords. But if I'm not playing him in cash, and I don't think I'll have much of him in like GPP other than Ford stacks. Larson and Byron are here also. Like Larson is aggressive. He could definitely get up there, and so is Byron. Both of them can uh hopefully get and connect with their Hendricks teammates or some of the other affiliates. But like Smith and Hocevar are rookies, so I mean they've got experience in the truck series, but I don't know if they're going to be helpful with these Hendrick cars. But I can definitely see the Chevys trying to pair up, and Elliott, Bowman, Larson, and Byron racing together. And usually Larson and Byron will try to get ahead of them, and because they do tend to be the more aggressive ones. Uh, but they do tend to find trouble. Larson has a lot of tire trouble. He's had a lot of penalties on pit road. Byron's been solid. Like he started off the year like really strong, then kind of faded a little bit, and then started coming on towards the end. Was, was one of the best drivers last year, and just didn't quite finish the way he wanted to. Um, so both these guys I'm going to be over the field on. And again, I probably would play both of them unless I'm doing like a kind of a Hendrick stack, which I mean, I'm not going to stack them with Elliott and Bowman. Like I'd probably pick one or the other to stack with them. But I think that, a lot of people are going to overlook this because just on principle, they're starting too far forward for them. But I think that there's a lot of scenarios where these guys can, if like the back crashes and stuff, and these guys do well, that could give you a lot of leverage over the field if you have like at least one of them in your lineup. Chris Buescher, I feel the same way. He has quietly become a really solid super speedway driver, and I have no problem playing him. Again, maybe in cash. Uh, but I think again, it'd be probably more in my GPP builds, like in a 20 max, where I throw in Chris Buescher and then a bunch of the floor guys. Maybe I put 2 of these overs in there and 4 floor guys, or the 3 primes and 2 overs and one solid cash play that I liked. But I wouldn't play any more than 2 of them in any lineup. Chase Briscoe is also been good on super speedways. I definitely like Larson, Byron, and Buescher more, but I will play some Briscoe and I'll be over the field on him. Ross Chastain is just super aggressive to the point where he, like Keselowski, should go in the same category. Um, and maybe John Hunter Nemechek, like they're either going to wreck or no, because Nemechek doesn't. I need to see more of him before I put him there. But Chastain and Keselowski are definitely like the checkers or wreckers there. So kind of the same play. Um, I think like Chastain a little bit better because there's more place differential potential if he does do well, and he's got a little bit more floor. You're not going to lose as much if he does crash. Justin Haley and this Rick Ware car, which I think some of these Rick Ware cars might have some alliances with Stuart Haas, so I don't think they're going to be as bad as they were last year. Um, at some points in some races, they were just abysmal, just mechanical issue after mechanical issue. But Haley's coming from colleague where has been good, but he finds Rex easily too. So I got him at GPP. He doesn't find Rex like Chastain and Keselowski do. He's not like bad driver, like my concerns with like Burton finding trouble, but I just can't get behind him this far forward. So can maybe play him with some GPPs, but probably more stacks with Stuart Haas than anything. Jimmy Johnson over here. I think a lot of people are going to play Jimmy Johnson just because of all of his success, but he's a shell of what he used to be. Uh, Last year, the races like he did race in, he did struggle some of them he didn't qualify for. So I still am going to play the over on him because he did look really good in the duel, and I think that now that they're not in Chevys and that they're in these Toyotas, which are the Toyota Racing Development Team, has been working with them, and I don't think that they're really part of Gibbs in 2311, but I think that you saw some of the Gibbs people maybe instructed by Toyota to work with them in the draft and stuff in the duels. So I think, especially he's got Bubba Wallace right behind him, so I could see those two hooking up. Martin Truex is a couple down, and Truex was actually drafting with Johnson in the duel. So those three cars are so close in proximity that they could all hook up and be successful in moving forward. I don't think any of them are going to want to like ride around the back at all. So um, so I like that. So I'll be over on Johnson. Bubba Wallace is my first like true cash play here. I think he'll be highly owned. He is just he's won super speedway races before. It wouldn't shock me if he won this one. I think he'll hook up with those Toyotas, and I think that he'll put himself, if not the win, in a really good position. And I love the place differential. Even if he finishes like sixth, that's like what, 18 place differential points. So pretty sweet there with the sixth finish. I like it. Ryan Preece, GPP. He's he had that horrible wreck here last time. I just gotta think that's got to be in his head where the car just like flipped so many times and it wasn't supposed to. It just hit a bad part. It was just a fluke thing. So I I just think that he might be a little tentative because of that. So I think I need to see him in a race here and see how he does and performs before I could play him in cash. But he is a good race car driver, and in Stuart Haas stack, I get it. So that's why it's GPP. Kaz Growler, same thing. Just he's not really that aggressive of a driver. He'll probably drop back and hope that nothing happens, but does sometimes get caught up in some wrecks. So like GPP. Truex, cash play here. Love him. You can only give so many primes. He was in consideration for it, but I like the place differential on the primes that I've got better. But definitely in play, and I'll definitely be mixing them in with the primes in my cash lineups. AJ Allmendinger, same thing. Uh, in Xfinity, like he was always up there, like leading and did really well on super speedways. He's a little bit more conservative sometimes in the cup races, which I'm fine with. But I think if he pairs up with these Richard Childress cars that are in the back, I think that they can have a successful day together. Corey LaJoy has really come along and done well in super speedways. He was up there in Atlanta. We thought he was going to win that race at one point, but then I think he had a tire issue or something, or somebody wrecked him. Can't remember what it was, but I think it's just a matter of time before he rises up and potentially wins one of these. He did decent in the truck race. So he's run this track recently, and the Spire team is has some Hendricks backing, and I think they're really trying to expand in NASCAR and become like a really formidable team across like many of the different branches. So I like him here. I think he's gonna have high ownership and somebody can play in cash. Josh Berry goes into the Kevin Harvick car. He looked good. I know he got wrecked in the duel, but like there's so many good cars that are taken out of that. I don't think it was necessarily his fault. So I think that Harvick always did really well running these races, and he has Harvick's crew chief, so there's a lot of knowledge there. And Barry ran really well with Junior Motorsports and Xfinity in these races too. So I think that he understands drafting and stuff like that, and I think he'll be fine here for cash. Todd Gilliland, Gillard, still can't pronounce it. I'll just call him Toddy G. Okay, we got that Toddy G here. I think that he's borderline over. I gave him the cash just because he is back here and he was such a darling for us in so many different races last year. He was always a cheap punt guy you could really count on, really wouldn't hurt you, was never gonna like break the slate, but he was just like that like one solid piece to put into like peanut butter and jelly. It's just like just a go-to guy, just to so I think I had to honor him with the cash label for this. Ryan Blaney is a prime play here. Blaney is just such a great driver at these. He got wrecked. He's in his backup car. His backup car is probably as good as his regular car. They did have one practice to tweak it. Um, so he'll be perfectly fine here. He'll get up towards the front and probably connect with some of the other Fords. And I wouldn't be surprised if he wins this race at all. Austin Dillon. What a troll. He is back here with his Richard Childress teammate Kyle Busch. Childress have always had really good super speedway programs. They've done well. But Austin Dillon, even though he's been up there, he just he always never qualifies well and always like is in the back of the pack. It just seems, but he just always breaks our hearts and underperforms. So I had to throw the GPP tag on him. I couldn't even get an over on him. I get it. I think he's an okay play. If you want to, I think he'll be highly owned just because people remember that Childress, especially if you look at an Xfinity series with Austin Hill, they've just been really dominant. And when he wasn't making stupid mistakes, um, Sheldon Creed, who was in the two for Childress, were always decent. And I just think that Dylan here is just I don't know. Maybe things have changed. Maybe this is year. Maybe it'll be fine. But I just fear that he's going to break my heart. So I will have some shares of him, but I will let other people play him. And so I don't have to worry about my day being ruined when he crashes on like lap 18. Kyle Busch he's another one that I used to put as a GPP just because he was boomer bust, kind of like Keselowski, kind of like Chastain. Um, but here, I think he's got to be a prime play. He's got so much experience here. If somebody doesn't wreck him, I think he'll be fine. Um, he did really well early on last season, and hopefully he'll get off to a solid start again this season. Ricky Stenhouse, I think again is going to be another chalky one. Um, he's won these races. He's aggressive. He wants to get up front. He doesn't mind leading these, and if he can keep it clean, he should have a good finish. Um, so I think that he's probably another checkers of records, but I think he's fine with cash because if he does crash out, you only lose like 5 place differential points, so not a big deal. Riley Herbst with Rick Ware again, hoping that has some Stewart Haas backing so that the car can hold up. The 15 was better than the 51 last year, if I recall. But Herbst always ran well in Xfinity uh, here, so I think he's a cash play. Daniel Hemrick makes his way back to Cup. He used to ride in, I believe, is in the 8 in Childress, and then got sent down to Xfinity, raced for colleague. For many years, he was like the bridesmaid. Like he just finished second, like almost every single race. And he's only won one race, I think. Maybe he won one after it, but it was the title race in Phoenix like 2 years ago. Um, Sliding across the finish line with it was so exciting finish. I had money on him too to win it. So it just seemed like everything was lining up as the destiny for him to win his first race and championship all at the same time, and it paid out really well. So I was happy with that. Being back in Cup, I don't know how to take him here. I have him as a cash play just because, again, if he crashes, he only loses you 3 points and I think that there's a lot of upside potentially with him also. So I think he's fine there. Noah Grayson, I'm going to get the prime here. The Stewart Haas cars, I think, are are decent and can work together. And Grigson always did well on he's got some plate or not plate, sorry. He's got some super speedway experience when it comes to uh the next gen car. He's run it for the last couple of years here. And he's run for Beard, he was in Legacy last year until that all fell apart. So he has the experience, and he did well in Xfinity also. He's like really dominant in Xfinity. So I give him the prime play here. I think he'll be fine for that. Anthony Alfredo, Beard, they tend to be a little bit conservative and put themselves in a position to win at the end. Austin Hills usually fared pretty well, and Gregson when they were in there. So Alfredo making his way back into to Cup, he just moved up like way too fast, and then he went back down to Xfinity for a couple years, and now he's back up here in at least for this race. So we'll see. Where he ends up overall. But I think he's a talented young driver. He just needs a little bit more experience to kind of get his like feet underneath him. So I think he'll be fine here. He's not going to lose you anything. He's got tremendous floor. And again, this team has a great approach. It's a solid team for a team that only races on super speedways. And that's what their focus is. And that's why they're successful usually. So I'm good with playing him in cash. And then David Reagan, his Ralph Fenway car, he just took it easy in qualifying. He knew that he was going to get in, so he didn't want to damage the car. And again, he'll probably be a back marker and just like kind of hang out towards the back of the field. And through attrition, I think that he'll be able to move up and have a solid day. You lose nothing if he doesn't. You get a zero, not a negative. So I'm fine with that. So hopefully this helped you. If you have any questions, you can put them in the chat below. You can hit me up at MegaRuler31 on X, formerly Twitter. And excited if you want more information on FSIDFS, you can get into our Discord for free. Still running that. Just go to the website, sign up for NASCAR Week, and the sales price is free. And you can see what our packages for the week. And we've got other sports too. NBA should come back after the All-Star game. McKinley has been doing phenomenal all season with hockey. We'll have spring training baseball coming up probably this next week. I think the first slates are Thursday or Friday, so I'll usually run that for free also, so you can check that out. And again, join that NASCAR fantasy league. I need about I think 6 more people so it can run for us tomorrow. So I really appreciate if you do me that favor. So thanks for watching. MegaRoo31. Good luck in your contests. Probably will do this on Monday anyways. So try to get the Xfinity video out and the NASCAR 101 video out. So just appreciate you watching. Look forward to a successful season. Good luck in your contests, and I'll see you next time.